And we're live. Once again, welcome everybody to the Real Black, a very special edition of the Real Black Podcast, remembering Sidney Poitier, who passed away last night at the age of 94. What can you say? He was, according to Wikipedia, Bahamian American actor, film director, activist, and ambassador. In 1964, he won the Academy Award for Best Actor, become the first black male actor to win the award. He received two further Academy Award nominations, 10 Golden Globe nominations, two Primetime Emmy Award nominations, six BAFTA, that's the British Oscar nominations, eight Laurel nominations, and one Screen Actors Guild Award nomination. Poitier was one of the last surviving major stars of the golden age of Hollywood cinema after the death of Kirk Douglas in 2020. He was the oldest living and earliest surviving Academy Award winner until his own death just yesterday. And from 1997 to 2007, Poitier served as the Bahamian ambassador to Japan. With us on the line is Charles Woods, and we'd like to share with you some of our Sidney Poitier memories. Good afternoon, Charles.
Mike, how are you? With mixed feelings, I say Happy New Year to the Real Black family, but sadly, we're saying this uh, after the death of someone I love truly as a person and what he represented for the image of blacks in motion pictures. And so my heart goes out to his family, and this day has come. We tried to, we were thinking about this was on our bucket list to try to get to talk to Sidney, but we know he wasn't in the best of health. But we have lost a giant.
Absolutely, absolutely. A lot of. Well, he's there aren't many left. I mean, and it comes. They say it comes in threes. We just recently lost Max Julian from the Mac, and yesterday the news came in about Peter Bogdanovich. So a lot of giants are leaving us. And I know you did the video which we reposted today about the the slap, and they call me Mr. Tibbs. But what are some of your favorite Sydney moments? Personally and career wise.
Well, one thing I'm happy about is that I had the opportunity to meet Sidney Poitier and speak with him. I was around 77. I was in California. We were covering the making of Thank God It's Friday. And it was the black press from different parts of the country that came in, and we became a solid group because we shared the fact that we were representing the black press. And we took a picture on the set of Thank God It's Friday, and the person who took the picture of us happened to be Howard Bingham.
Mm,
And Howard Bingham
rest
was
in peace.
he was the still photographer for Thank God It's Friday. And we're sitting and talking, and then all of a sudden, someone comes over. He says, "How would you guys like to meet someone, uh, a real giant in the business?" So we said, "Sure." Now, the person who came and said this and put us in his car was about uh, four of us. Happened to be Vincent Tubbs. I don't know if you're familiar with the name, Mike.
No, I can't say I am.
People can look up Vincent Tubbs. Vincent Tubbs historically was the industry's first black publicist.
Okay.
Okay, and he was the publicist attached to the film A Piece of the Action. So that was you had a piece of the action was I think it was made already, and he knew that we were in town to cover Thank God It's Friday, which came out I think in '78. But Vincent Tubbs who's a historical figure. He comes, he takes us. And who is the giant he took us to meet? Sidney Poitier. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
And charming. He engaged with us for about 40, 45 minutes. And I never forget one of the reporters asked him, was that real spit at that lady? Did you let them have that lady spit in your face from the film, his first major film, No Way Out, 1950? And Sidney looks at him and said, he didn't really answer the question, but we got to ask him different questions. But to cut it short, um, I think I was more um, uh, agog. I was just so stunned being in his presence because studying motion picture history, black motion picture history, and to be with this giant, this person who many people are not aware of this, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Sidney took a lot of heat, a lot of heat. You wouldn't think he received the heat he did, but there are many people who did not like the roles he played. They felt they were too unrealistic, too noble, too accommodationist. And it was at one time called the noble Negro, uh, the ebony saint. But Sidney, to his credit, he said, if I get the opportunity, which he did get, luck fell his way, what I'm going to do with that opportunity is I'm not going to squander it and do roles that would embarrass not only me, but embarrass the people who come to see me, black viewers. And so that was his mindset. He said he didn't want to do a part that was embarrassing, that would be considered embarrassing. And he turned down a lot of roles. One role I mentioned in particular, and he was struggling. He turned down the Phoenix City Story in 1955, and he became good friends with someone who became his agent because when he turned down that role, which could have meant money and his ability to put food on the table, this so impressed this agent of his,
Marty Baum.
yeah, Marty Baum, that he said, you know what, I got to represent you because you've shown me something. And Sidney, um, one other thing I want to say, Sidney, a lot of people don't know Sidney was close to quitting the business after he made Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. He spent a lot of money on the couch. There are a lot of things that in the business, as far as the slings and arrows that come with the kind of roles you play, he took a lot of grief because he felt he was doing the right thing, and he was doing the right thing. You know,
Right. Well, there's a famous article, right? That around 1967 or 68.
well, 67, Clifford Mason, a playwright, he wrote this article that was published in the New York Times. It was called "Why White America Loves Sidney Poitier So." And this article, the way Clifford Mason attacked the roles that Sidney played, this hurt Sidney, hurt him to the core. And he happened to meet the guy. He didn't know him, but Sidney went searching for this guy. Like, who is this guy attacking me like this? And it just so happens they were viewing a play, and the guy comes over and says, "You know who I am? I'm Clifford Mason." So Sidney had to control himself because Sidney wanted to kick this boy's butt. And I'm gonna tell you something, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
I became good friends with you remember William Miles?
Yeah, I remember Harlem. Great documentarian.
Yeah, so William Miles, we had become good friends, and William Miles invited me to the Brooklyn Armory. And who's there? I had the opportunity to meet with Ozzie Davis, and but more than Ozzie, I was rapping with my girl Ruby D, and we talked. But Clifford Mason was there, and I was ready to light into him. And my wife said, "Don't do it, don't do it," because he hurt my boy.
Mm,
And so, but yeah, uh, if people want to know what really hurt Sidney to the core, look up that article, the New York Times article, Clifford Mason's "Why White America Loves Sidney Poitier." So, but Sidney, to finish my point, was ready to quit after he did Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, because he took more heat after he made that film, and so and then things were changing for Sidney because the political tide was changing. His image was becoming jaded. They wanted blacks in films that were more acerbic, more rebellious, and people who they felt were speaking truth to power, that were attacking the system, where they felt Sidney's characters were more or less complicit and acquiescent with the system.
mm. Well, it's interesting. I'm gonna try and pull up this video from 1968 with Sidney Poitier. But I mean, while I'm searching for that, talk about some of your favorite Sidney Poitier roles, and then I'll try to share a few of mine.
Well, my favorite all-time Sidney film
Hmm.
is To Serve with Love.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay, I remember seeing that in the movie theater, and I was so touched by it because one of the things I've always wanted to be is an educator, and in that film he was an educator supreme. He won the hearts of these young students who were rebellious, who were rejecting him, who just had this attitude that we don't care about the older generation. They have no concern for us. We have no concern for them. And I don't know if many people are aware of it. To Serve with Love was based on a true person, and I love that film. I'm going to watch it tonight again for the
Mm.
maybe the 556th time.
Well, we've got something special for our viewers tonight as well. But you know, well, wait, let me. I'm trying to do a few things too much at one time. But I have it queued up. Uh, Maybe we'll end with it. But
And
for
I
me, it's Uptown Saturday Night. That's my
okay.
favorite. That's my favorite Sydney movie. I just that was my dream, was that there'd be a special edition box set with commentary from this until today. The three leads of Uptown Saturday Night, Let's Do It Again, A Piece of the Action, were still with us. So that was my bucket list, that they would do a all inclusive collector's edition of those movies. But Cosby got in trouble, and it never seemed to happen. Even the remake got put on hold because of that. But seeing Sydney doing the comedic thing is it for me. And then behind that, probably Raising the Sun, because I saw that when I was in school.
Well, the thing about Uptown Saturday Night,
Hmm.
as I mentioned just a few seconds ago, Sydney's persona became jaded. What they were looking for were more, much more black masculinity in motion pictures.
Hmm.
So what we got was the black exploitation era, the super spade. Sidney was a super spade, but he was an ebony saint. He wasn't about going around kicking whiteys behind because, as I said, the sub theme of black exploitation was get whitey. It was about retribution, vengeance. The attempts uh, of Sidney to take on this darker, more rebellious image started with like the Lost Man, and he mentions in his book when that film was released. Have you ever heard of Larry Neal?
Oh, the playwright.
Yes.
His two autobiographies. He lived such a long life.
Okay. Larry Neal, who was a good friend of Leroy Jones and Mama Baraka, told Sidney, "You're going to get in trouble with this film here." And the Lost Man was based on a British film.
Hmm.
The third, I believe, the Third Man.
The Third Man or the Intruder. I mean, Uptight was a remake, and yeah, Lost Man's a remake of the Third Man, I believe,
Yeah.
and
And
Uptight's a
so,
remake of the Intruder.
right. So there was an attempt for Sidney to fall in line with this demand for this new type of imagery. What happened is, you see, 1967, Sidney achieved something that was unheard of for a black actor, difficult for a white actor. He was voted number one box office in 1967. Three films. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, In the Heat of the Night, and the one I told you I love the best, um,
To Sir with Love.
To Serve with Love. Number one. And he was someone, his characters were loved by the white audience. Okay, Sidney, black exploitation, the main audience were your urban blacks and your urban whites. Sidney's films were mainstream. Okay, his fan base was not having it. The film that solidified the fact that Sidney could not take on these more rebellious characters was Buck and the Preacher in '72. Buck and the Preacher was a black exploitation western, and when the film was being made, the original director was Joseph Sargent, a white director. They came to artistic differences. Sidney had artistic differences the way the film was being shot. He voiced those differences, and they couldn't get another director to keep the budget from going crazy. So they said, Sidney, you do it. So that became his directorial debut. But the
Mm.
film did not make a lot of money. Long story short, Sidney and his good friend Harry, they saw that hey, we just, this is not us. Uptown Saturday Night, he speaks about what happened when he did Uptown Saturday Night. And I spoke a long time with the person who wrote the screenplay, Richard Wesley. And we used to say to Richard, we said to Richard, how can you do this kind of film, write a screenplay with this kind of film, with the kind of plays you were putting on stage? And Richard said, I got mouths to feed. I got kids to put through college. But the thing is, Uptown Saturday Night was a monster hit. And Sidney says he felt it was time to go back to making movies that audiences could sit in, enjoy, be entertained, and not get caught up with the black and white issues.
Right. Well, let's take a look at this. This will give us some fodder, and then when as we reset, let's talk about his early career as well as his later career as a director. But I'll cue this up. I don't know if you've ever seen this or not. I just discovered it recently. Um, it's part of a series of videos that came out. What am I calling this? 1968. This is from 1968. It's a short documentary that about Sidney Poitier and his views on race.
In the last decade, Hollywood has witnessed the emergence of a few black stars who attract large audiences, black and white alike. It is possible for an important star like Sidney Poitier to be seen as an actor, rather than as a black actor.
You're implying that there was something wrong by my not being nominated.
Well, there seems to be a lot of talk in the industry. Apparently no one has really heard from you. What are your feelings about that?
I was rather delighted not to have to sit in that auditorium tonight and wind up one of the four losers.
Outside of Hollywood, it's a different matter. Sidney Poitier's professional work is too often forgotten. The questions are too sharply focused. He is simply black. Mr. Poitier is not one to let this go unchallenged.
How close has my association been in the past with Dr. King? For some years now, I've worked raising funds for Dr. King because I believe still very strongly in his non-violent philosophy.
What do you feel Rap Brown's purpose is now?
I figured that question would come. I am not familiar with all of Mr. Brown's methods, except that Mr. Brown suggests violence. Well, I am, as by definition, in opposition to violence, particularly violence for violence sake.
Do you think the urban riots have affected it, though?
I would say that the urban riots have had effects in every corner of the country and in every arena of life.
Do you feel he's creating?
I would like to ask you a question. Why is it that you guys are hounds for bad news? Why is it that, it seems to me that at this moment, this day, you could ask me many questions about many positive and wonderful things that are happening in this country. But we gather here to pay court to sensationalism. We gather here to pay court to negativism. You guys have a job to do. I'm a relatively intelligent man. There are many aspects to my personality that you can explore, I think, very constructively. But you sit here and ask me such one-dimensional questions about a very tiny area of our lives. You ask me questions that fall continually within the Negro-ness of my life. You ask me questions that pertain to the narrow scope of the summer riots. I am artist, man, American, contemporary. I am an awful lot of things, so I wish you would pay me the respect due and not simply ask me about those things.
May I say something?
Sure.
It's funny. You put that up. You showed that clip, and contextually, that goes to what I was saying about what Sidney had to go through. Not just Sidney Poitier, but you take today Denzel Washington, who always talks about how he's following in Poitier's footsteps. But a lot of black actors, your Morgan Freemans, your Sam Jacksons, they'll tell you when we go on these publicity tours to promote the film we just made, there's something that happens to the black performer that does not happen to the white performer. The questions are narrow in scope. The questions always pertain to their race. Mm-hmm. They have to comment on black and white socialistic issues. Sidney, you could see, was very upset. And this is something Clifford Mason said. With all of the love they show Sidney as a movie star, because the question of his piece was, why does white American love Sidney? So he's saying, Sidney, you're making these movies. They love you in these movies, but in real life, you're not getting treated any better. You still have to defend your blackness. That still comes up. That was the quandary, Sidney. You could see his anger. Mm-hmm. That's why he was on the couch. Same thing happened with the person he had a long affair with, mm-hmm. Diane Carroll. Diane Carroll went through therapy. I mean, because she was attacked when she did Julia. That's the tragedy of living in a system of white supremacy.
Yeah, and he pioneered it. Before Sidney Poitier, I mean, we didn't have that type of image at all. I mean, can we go back and talk about his early career? Like, what stands out to you? Like, if people are going to do a marathon, and we have a very special thing planned for tonight at 8:00. We're going to premiere something that I don't think very many people have seen before. I'm just going to keep it under wraps, but it's our tribute to Sidney Poitier. But if people were to go back and look for his, I mean, people, they have their favorites like we all do, and I guess we failed to mention Defiant Ones. But you know, for those looking at the chronology, like what stands out to you as the best of his early work, Charles?
Well, you have to start with No Way Out in 1950. Interesting when he tested for that part. I think it came down to maybe 5 or 6 people they were looking at, and finally he was told by Joe Mankiewicz, who's the director, "You're the man. You're getting the part." And when Sidney told his agent at the time, you know, I got the part for this film, they said, "Well, you already have a part." And what happened is Sidney at the time was slated to play in a stage production of Lost in the Stars. And so when Sidney said, "No, I got the part," they spoke to Mankiewicz, told him about the problem. They had like a contract to go with this Broadway part. Mankiewicz said, "Well, you know, talk to the guy." So when the agent goes back to the people running the play, they felt it was a money grab. The agent's trying to get more money because Sidney was supposed to get around $75 a week. And the guy said, "Well, look, I know what you're up to. You ain't got no movie part. You either take this $75 a week or forget it." So they said, "Okay, you don't believe me, I'm telling you the truth." So he got out of the contract because the guy said, "You either take it or not." Sidney gets the part 10 times more weekly, around $750 a week. And he makes this film, No Way Out, where he plays this doctor. This was a role. It was kind of like coming to the part of the problem picture cycle that started most pronouncedly in 1949, but it started around the World War II years, where you had this energy, this need to project blacks more progressively in films. So in 49, you had Intruder in the Dust, you had Pinky, but 1950, his doctor, his image of a doctor, that was something that was iconic. He does that, things slow up. His next major film, he plays like a teenager in Blackboard Jungle. That was a big hit for him. He did Edge of the City. There's another film I loved. I just hate the fact that he got killed in it.
Right.
But in the 50s, what was crystallizing for Black American viewers was this new image, this new black male image that, to Sidney's desire, his mindset, something he would not relent on, to present on film a character that was a black character that was full of dignity. Sidney did that. And people can criticize him all they want, but when you look back at his work, Sidney is at the top, Mount Rushmore, for how he changed the image of the black man in motion pictures. And this day, I knew, we knew it would be coming. And I was saying, if I have to say anything, I don't want anyone to lose sight of the fact. I want to be articulate enough to be able to express how much we should feel indebted to what this man did, how his image changed the projection of blacks in motion pictures. And he rejected a lot of things. He rejected playing Othello. Okay? Now, he had a few things he was not proud of. He couldn't get out of playing in Porgy and Bess. No one wanted him to do it. He didn't want to do it. The original person who was supposed to do the part said, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to play a black man on my knees. Sidney didn't want to do it. There were attempts to stop that film from being produced. They set a fire on the set, but Sidney's career was threatened. And but he himself said, that's one thing I have to deal with, the fact that I did do it. I'm not proud of doing it, but I did do it. And it's one of the big regrets I have as an actor that I did that film.
Well, in 1958, Defiant Ones kind of puts him on the map. I mean, as far as being a major voice to be reckoned with. I think after Defiant Ones, he pretty much, well, Porgy and Bess is 59, but Defiant Ones, I think is the movie that stands out to me as like, okay, this guy is a classic,
Well, Defiant Ones is a pivotal film. But once again, his character took a lot of heat from James Baldwin.
How so?
Well, if you read James Baldwin's The Devil Finds Work, James Baldwin was upset. He said when Sidney was on that train and it meant freedom, and he's trying to extend his hand to give Tony Curtis's character a lift onto the train, but Tony is kind of struggling to try to catch that train. And Baldwin said, I'm watching that movie and I'm saying, man, ride the freedom, the hell with that white boy, you know what I mean? But the fact that Sidney's attempt to save the white boy, where he falls off the train and the two of them, they're pretty much hugging and they become friends because what happened is they couldn't stand each other. And once again, what this movie was about was another attempt to deal with the issue of racial tolerance. But the thing is, it's another film he was proud of. People loved it, critical acclaim. He was nominated for the Best Supporting Actor. But you always have this dichotomy, this damned if you do, damned if you don't. Another example of the kind of pressure you take when Sidney explains what he was going through. He said, at many times I felt, and it appeared like I was the only black on the set, except for the black guys shining people's shoes.
Mm. Well, let's just go in order. Raisin in the Sun is his next big movie, directed by, wearing my AFI hat today, Dan Petrie, who was one of my professors, for full disclosure. But Lorraine Hansberry's Raisin in the Sun film version, 1961. What are your thoughts?
Well,
Whoops.
it was historic. Hansberry's was a big major play. Sidney's character was once again a character that in this particular film,
Walter Lee.
where he plays Walter Lee, a black chauffeur who's looking for this money to come as the insurance money to come after his father's death. He wants to use it to invest, and he wants to invest it, and the investment was a liquor store, and that money gets messed up. But that film also caused issues because what happened is, and I'm not bringing up just the negative sides. I'm just showing you the binary, the dichotomy that surrounds the context that surrounds these films. Sidney and who's that? Claudia McNeil.
Mm-hmm.
They had issues making that film because Sidney did not like the character where he felt the film was matriarchal, and that the black man looked like, it was too stereotypical, where the black male was not really functioning the right way, didn't do the right thing. And they had that cop-out ending where, despite the mistake he did and the problems it caused, they gave him a dignified way of resolving that with some kind of dignity, where he tells the people who want to buy them out that no, we're staying here, and my mama wants the place, my sisters we're staying here. But the big issue with that is that it was once again with the black matriarch, that imagery, that confrontation you have with the black man and the black woman, that was in the foreground. And a person who had a similar conflict with that same film was when I spoke to Joe Morton when he did the musical version, Raisin.
Mm-hmm. Same kind of thing. Well, Paris, then he does Paris Blues, Pressure Point. The next big one would be the one he got the Oscar for, and I've got a trailer. So let's all take a look at the trailer for Lilies of the Field, if you don't mind, Charles.
No.
Okay, let's see how that works. We're just playing here.
Along the hot, dusty Arizona road he came, to the edge of the desert. Homer Smith, the roving ex-GI who carried his home on 4 wheels.
God is good. He has sent me a big, strong man.
He didn't say anything to me about sending me any place. I was just passing by.
Yeah, you did not pass.
A big, strong man Just what 5 lonely women were looking for. Just the man to patch a leaking roof. Just the man to make their prayers and dreams come true.
We built a chapel.
It's very nice. What's a chapel?
Eine kleine Kirche. A chapel.
Lots of luck, Mother. I ain't building no chapel.
Yeah, you.
Not only am I ain't building no chapel, I'm taking off. I ain't no contractor.
That is for the beginning.
No.
Prepare yourselves for something deliciously, refreshingly different. With people, it's a pleasure to be with.
Schmidt!
See why a big, strong man like this couldn't resist 5 lonely ladies like these. Meet the boss, Mother Maria, whose faith could move mountains, and a man like Homer Smith.
Jetzt dummen Sie sich, aber machen Sie schnell.
You hold on 1 minute. You just hold on 1 minute. I mean, I ain't no nun. I'm nobody you can boss around. See? I get up when I feel like getting up, and if I don't want to work, I don't work. Now, if you just pay me, see, I'll be going.
Lilies of the field. The sweet smell of laughter is right here.
Why'd you go and do that?
The women last night, they say that is the only thing when a man has been mixing wine with tequila.
I'm gonna mix you with tequila.
Lilies of the field. The story of 5 wonderful women who waited for a miracle and the man from nowhere who made it come true.
You and your chapel, getting everybody involved. You've been making a lot of mischief around here.
What's the matter?
Now she's really after me.
But the chapel's almost finished.
Oh, no. She's just beginning. Next you want a school, and then it's a hospital, and only God knows, and she, what comes next.
Sorry. Goes on to win an Oscar for Lilies of the Field. And some people feel like it was sort of a makeup Oscar for some of his other work.
But he didn't deserve an Oscar for that film. That film was BS. I believe that was Ralph Nelson in the car.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You could check that out. Maybe you look in the credits. I believe that was Ralph Nelson. But that Sidney getting an Oscar for that is like when John Wayne got an Oscar for True Grit. You know, it's
a makeup for his other stuff.
I'm not saying Sidney didn't deserve an Oscar, but that film didn't impress me. And there are a lot of things going on because in my study of miscegenation, black and white sex in the movies, one of the things I point out is that all these white women he's surrounded by, they're what?
Nuns.
And they're Germans. Okay.
German.
So that's the denigration, and that's also the contrived neutralization. The way they made the big fat black woman who worked in these the mammies,
Mm-hmm.
they were grossly overweight and unattractive. That was a contrivance. It's to obviate the thought that there could be some sexual attraction. That's tricknology.
Right. And it's also, you can tell from the trailer, this is an early magical Negro, the man who came from nowhere.
And they kept saying, big man.
That's for a future episode to dissect that that trailer. Just break down the trailer, all the coding that happens in that. Let's do me a favor. Let's take a look at. I haven't seen this in a while. His Oscar speech.
Yeah,
we're in the adrenaline section. There's this knee-knocking hour here, and I won't delay anymore to present the award for the Best Actor.
We can talk through this if you want.
A very brilliant Academy Award-winning actress of last year, Miss Anne Bancroft.
This is The Long Journey.
Fair use. Fair use.
The nominees for the best performance by an actor are Albert Finney in Tom Jones, Richard Harris in This Sporting Life, Rex Harrison in Cleopatra, Paul Newman in Her, Sidney Poitier in Lilies of the Field. The winner is Sidney Poitier in Lilies.
Because it is a long journey to this moment, I am naturally indebted to countless numbers of people, principally among whom are Ralph Nelson, James Poe, William Barrett, Martin Baum, and of course the members of the Academy. For all of them, all I can say is a very special thank you.
All I have to do is say one thing to you, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
This should have been part of the classroom instruction for Black folks who are nominated for Oscars on how to accept an Oscar. Spike Lee, embarrassment. Cuba Gooding, jumping backflips. Halle Berry, oh my goodness.
Don't get me started.
Hattie McDaniels, her whole speech was written, and she had to sleep. I mean, she had to eat at a special table.
Yeah.
But this man, he even showed you how to be a Black person and win an Oscar. You know what I mean?
Rest in peace. All right. Well, we talked about To Serve with Love. We talked about we didn't get to Patch of Blue. You know, do you have any thoughts on that? And we did a thing on In the Heat of the Night. I know you're fond of A Patch of Blue. Do you have any thoughts?
I loved a Patch of Blue. What was that? 65?
You are correct, sir.
1965. A small film. In fact, it was a year after One Potato, Two Potato. And many people. Here's what we have to clear things up. Many people say A Patch of Blue was the first time he kissed a white woman.
Okay.
1964, One Potato, Two Potato. That preceded it. But see, Patch of Blue was, even though it was a small independent, like a little independent film, it wasn't the first time. Okay, but the thing is,
to clarify, first interracial kiss on film.
Right.
Was One Potato, Two Potato.
Yeah. In other words, it preceded A Patch of Blue.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So another attempt to deal with racial tolerance. And what it was is when I did the study on black and white sex, years ago, we used to say the only kind of white women they allow black men to have, they have to be blind, crippled, or crazy. That's the denigration. In this film, it was a blind girl.
Right. Whose parents were crazy.
Which and here's the other thing: what that young lady, the character, went through, living with Shelley Winters, who played her mother. Mother was a. I always get it begins with the H-O. But the thing is, the message that they wanted to convey was that there's a key line where Sidney, his character, he's figuring she don't know she's falling in love with a black man because she can't see color. And she tells him, I knew this all the time, but that doesn't matter. And that was the message.
So, yeah, I want to try and keep us to an hour. I mean, we've got a lot of people in the room watching, of course, but like
in other words, I'm talking too much.
No, we could go forever. I mean, the man lived in 94, made dozens of movies.
I'm only kidding, Mike.
Went on to direct things, which we'll talk about. But I see a lot of people in the discussion talking about this film, and I'm going to cue up the trailer, and we'll just let it play. And then if you could share your thoughts about this one, I know you are a fan of this one as well. And what's there not to like about Brother John?
I would like to live and die a simple life like my father.
Brother John. Who is he?
He is the dude that walks by himself.
What did he want? Where did he come from?
You got any idea where he's been? A black man from Hackney. In Prague, East Berlin, Cairo.
You pick him up, you don't let him get away. Till I find out who the hell he is and what he's doing. Now, do I have to get Judge Picker out of bed and get a bench warrant?
What have you seen? What do you want from me, Dr. Thomas? I can't tell you anything.
I know. You might just be a paranoid schizophrenic, and I might be a senile psychotic sharing your delusion.
That's possible.
Stay with me. Marry me or don't, I don't give a damn, but stay. I'm not proud, just tell me you love me when and if it creeps up on you.
I love you now, but there's no time.
I'll get him again.
Not many people have seen that film. Tell us, what are your thoughts as you watch the trailer for Brother John?
Brother John became a cult favorite. It didn't do anything at the box office. What was that, 71?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and his leading lady was Beverly Todd. Beverly Todd, she looked up to Sidney as her mentor. Now, Beverly Todd happens to be, at one time, I think from 70 to 75, she was married to Chris Kaiser. When I met Sidney, I also met Chris Kaiser. Chris Kaiser was the associate producer of A Piece of the Action. But when we saw that film, the one thing we loved about this film, when I say we, the brothers, was that he knew martial arts. And there was a scene in that film that kind of made the whole film worthwhile. And that's the little clip they show where he's putting some whip ass on this racist sheriff. And that was like the most popular scene in the film. But this whole thing about if he was some kind of angelic character, he was a mystery. It was, what was he? You know? And it just didn't work. It didn't go over with the audience. It was too mysterious. And but to watch the film, it's something that there's something about it you like.
Right.
You know,
Well, it's Sydney in a different kind of role as well. He's a lot tougher. This is the post black exploitation era Sydney, so I think he's making an attempt after the Lost Man to give a different type of magical Negro type persona.
well, it's not post black exploitation era.
It's right. It's right there. 71. It's
Yeah.
after the black exploitation wave hit the
Yeah,
shore.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
It took off.
Okay. Yeah. I'm
before-
sorry. Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. Black exploitation starts with Cotton Comes to Harlem in 70. It explodes in 72.
Right. Now we can go forward or backward. I mean, people are leaving comments as we go. For Love of Ivy or um,
For Love of Ivy is what, 68?
Buck and the Preacher.
Let's right quick my reflection on that's 1968, right? For
Yes.
Love of Ivy.
Mm-hmm.
And I just have to say,
With Abby Lincoln.
who I met, and there was some sparks.
Okay. She's not here to say anything different, so I believe you.
Yeah, but
Rest in peace, Abby Lincoln.
I met Abby. She was into politics, and there was a political group. I won't name the group, but she was at one of my presentations, and I just loved her because for Love of Ivy, there are two significant love films where you have black romance to be expressed by a black man and a black woman. Nothing But a Man, 64. For Love of Ivy, 68. And the constant in both of those films was Abby Lincoln. Sidney, they called him like a black Cary Grant for this part. Sidney, it was his story idea to do this film.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he was tired of doing all these films where they had him in an interracial relationship. He wanted it was past time for him to be in a film where he had a relationship with a black woman, and that's the beauty of For Love of Ivy, a film they don't show much.
It's true. It's owned by ABC. It's going out of print on Blu-ray. So for those who are interested, get your copies now because the licenses run out on that, and it's a while supplies last sale in the Kino Lorber. So thank you, Jackie R. We also had another donation from Omar B. Super Chat is on. By the way, Super Chat is on. Just an aside, as we go, because we're live, I can report, it just popped up on my feed. The 3 men convicted of murdering Ahmaud Arbery were sentenced to life in prison, 2 without parole. So that's breaking news for
Well, you
those
know,
who are watching live.
right quick, the mother was not having no plea deal. I'm not having it.
Well, don't drop the soap. That's all I can say. Rest in peace, Ahmaud Arbery. So As we move on, let's look at let's move into his directorial career. It takes off with Uptown Saturday Night, but he makes history as the first. Now, this movie didn't gross 100 million. First black director to direct a movie that grosses $100 million with Stir Crazy. You want to take a look at that trailer, and then we can talk about his transition into directing. 1980, Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder, Stir Crazy.
I hereby sentence you to serve 125 years.
Have you got the right case?
Columbia Pictures presents Gene Wilder and Richard
I
Pryor
have my head overhauled for listening to you.
together again in Stir Crazy.
I can't feel nothing in my leg.
One's a little too good.
That's Grossberger, the biggest mass murder in the history of the Southwest.
Nobody has ever just sat down and honestly talked with that man. Hello.
One's not quite bad enough.
They got this Korean doctor just set foot in this country. Make sure you don't get him. That's right. He's the one made the mistake on me. Korean, right?
How do you go?
That's the cat did me.
Could you actually become involved, romantically, with a prisoner?
Absolutely not.
Oh, I didn't think so.
Excuse me, will you?
I'll come with you.
Oh,
Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor in Stir Crazy. Only these two guys could dress up like woodpeckers and get framed for robbing a bank. Stir Crazy.
That's right, we bad.
Imagine all the possibilities if the whole world was just like me.
Yeah, so that's one of my personal favorites. I know it wasn't to the standard that Mr. Poitier wanted to do as a director. I think he wanted to do more things like Buck and the Preacher, but Stir Crazy was, again, a comedy, a huge hit. Richard Pryor, Gene Wilder, I think it's their biggest box office collaboration, and it was history making. What are your thoughts about his directing career?
Well, I just feel he got the opportunity to direct. It was something besides being in front of the camera. There was a great movement where blacks said, hey, we want to be behind the camera as well. There was a tough union to crack. It began with in mainstream films with Gordon Parks, Melvin Van Peebles. He had to go to France, then come to America, and he started with Watermelon Man. Ossie Davis, he got his opportunity. He also, Ossie Davis, similar to Sidney as far as directing, Ossie was not the original director slated to do Cotton. Okay, but the thing is, this was another way blacks felt that they could helm the projects. They could be large and in charge, directing, to get that message across. But the whole thing is this: you can have the position. The question is, what is your position, though? It's still constrained. It's still circumscribed. It's still a limited position. So for the most part, what Melvin did with Sweetback, which was considered revolutionary, for the most part, the lesson that was learned when Sidney did Buck and the Preacher is that if you want to be a success, you got to make a movie. You got to be behind a movie that's going to make some money. It's not black power, it's not white power. They always just say it's green power. Money talks, BS walks. But right. Sidney, he had some luck in this field also. But one thing I want to say about Sidney, when you hear him speak, same thing when you listen to Sammy Davis Jr. Sammy Davis Jr. was not well educated. He was self-educated.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that was going to doom Sidney Poitier was his accent, his thick accent, and he went and he committed himself. He said, "I want to do this." Went and bought him a radio. He listened to the people on the radio, and when you hear him speak, this guy, man, you thought he was some kind of an English professor. He spoke so well. You'd love to hear him talk. Even when his contemporary, who's still with us, Harry, when you hear these people speak, you could see the training, because these actors, they learn the breathing and whatnot. James Earl Jones' father, he tried to teach me. He said, "Listen, I'm going to show you how to speak. Use your diaphragm and whatnot." And he was eloquent. Sidney was someone who was committed to doing something, learning his craft, and he did it well.
Indeed. So he not only directed Stir Crazy, he did, like you said, Buck and the Preacher, A Warm December, Uptown Saturday Night, Let's Do It Again, A Piece of the Action, Hanky Panky, once again with Gene Wilder.
He did the dance movie.
Fast Forward, that was another one with Columbia Pictures.
Yeah.
Fast Forward, and then Ghost Dad was his final film as director. He went on to produce, and we have an interview on the channel with his daughter Sydney, Sydney, when we showed Free of Eden here in Philadelphia, which is another one of my favorite Sidney Poitier performances. I just wanted to throw a shot of him up there on the directing. Got a nice photo of him.
Oh, is that the one where he's doing A Warm December?
This is from Ghost Dad, actually.
Okay.
Bill Cosby. So, but larger in charge, always in the zone there. And his later career, he went on to do, after he did Little Nikita, he kind of retired from feature films outside of a small role in Sneakers in the ensemble, but he did a lot of TV movies.
Well, there's a film he did. I like Little Nikita now. Mm-hmm. He has a romantic scene with Loretta Devine in that.
Okay.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
But he does this film. Look at his, what you call it, because I can't think of the title, but he came back. It was a comeback film for him, and he was fantastic in it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a scene where he tells the white co-star, "Okay, just watch me. I'm taking over." You got his credits?
Oh, River Phoenix, you're talking about?
No.
Not in Little. Oh, what the credits for Little Nikita?
For Sydney, the film.
Oh yeah. After he did Sneakers, Children of the Dust, To Sir with Love 2, Mandela and de Klerk, The Jackal.
No, it's before those.
Shoot to Kill.
Shoot to Kill. Who was that? Tom Berenger?
Tom Berenger.
Yeah, that's the one. He came back bad in that film.
So everybody watch Shoot to Kill tonight.
That's Sidney said, "Watch me, bro." And he was in great shape, because I always want to ask Sidney, watching, because if you watch In the Heat of the Night,
mm-hmm.
he was throwing some kung fu. See, when I had the 43rd chamber.
Okay. I hear you warming up. All right, can we go a little longer and take some questions?
You learn the how to do different things. He was doing some martial arts in the Heat of the Night, and brother John, and we always used to talk about. I bet Sidney was taking some kung fu, brother.
Shoot to Kill. All right. I'll cue up the trailer for it. Actually, I don't have enough time. I want to keep things moving, but Let me see if I can pull up the
I want to
artwork.
see that. I'm going to tell my wife we're going to do a.
Well, it's the #1 bestseller on Amazon right now.
We're going to do
buying it out.
a Sidney tonight, because let me tell you, I'm saying it one more time. I loved him, Mike. I loved him.
Okay, well, maybe that's the best way to wrap it up. Let me just share with the viewers the movie we're talking about. Selling like hotcakes today on Amazon. Shoot to Kill with Tom Berenger.
I don't think I have that in my library.
I'm not sure if I do either. It's going fast right now. $5.
Soon as this is over, I'm going to order it.
I hit. Uh-oh. Let me see if I can open this window. Oh, thank you for everybody who's donating. By the way, the super chat really helps us. I mean, we started a thing now with.
I'm gonna tell you something. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things we don't talk about in technology is the poster art.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times the star could be Sidney. And then when you see the poster art, you can barely see the black character.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way they did this.
That's a good one. Kirstie Alley.
Shoot to Kill.
All right. Well, we have to get Shoot to Kill for our collection. But all right, so I think we covered it. We didn't talk about his upbringing in Cat Island, the fact that his family didn't have electricity and were very basically illiterate, but very spiritual and religious. He sees his life as something that's fate and destined. If you listen to or read his books, he lived a long life. He made it to 94. God bless him. He was writing mostly in his last days. I gotta get used to that. It's not backwards, but it's weird for me to hold these up like that. But these are his memoirs, Measure of a Man. There's lots. He left us with lots of great work. Exemplary figure, historical in the history of cinema, not just black cinema. Sidney Poitier is an icon, a legend, like you said, a Mount Rushmore figure. And it's a sad day. It's an inevitable day, but we're here to celebrate his life, his legacy, the things that he gave us, the emotions that he helped bring out in us through his work, through his strong sense of pride and identity. I don't think anybody else could have done it better. Sidney Poitier, rest in peace. Any final thoughts, Charles?
Well, I told you one thing I feel is unique about Sidney and was scary for the industry. Sidney demonstrated the power of that big screen. It also showed you that if you project someone on that big screen in a dignified, commanding, special way, it will have an impact on people's acceptance of him. The point I'm getting at is this: hatred is a learned thing. As someone so eloquently put it, if you can be taught to hate, you can be taught to love. The screen is not used correctly. Motion pictures are not used correctly. Motion pictures are used to perpetuate the status quo. But the power, they know the power of that screen, that image, that movie. Used correctly, it could change human lives for the better. Sidney demonstrated that.
Amen. 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 Well, thank you, Charles, for sharing your thoughts about today.
Thank you for having me.
And I just want to pull up this.
That's what the white missionaries used to say to the black natives. Thanks for having me.
Oh gosh. All right. Well, we were here to share our thoughts. I mean, later tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern time, we're going to share something very special on the channel as we take the day to on Reelblack Podcast, Reelblack TV, to remember Sidney Poitier. And thanks to everybody who tuned in to remember him with.
I'm gonna tell you one thing. About Sidney.
Mm-hmm.
In closing.
Yes, sir.
He was the key African American actor. The key, listen to what I'm saying, the key black actor. And when you type his name, his last name, on a typewriter, on a computer, you can't go anywhere, but you stay at the top.
You're right. You're right. That's deep. That's deep. Sidney Poitier. All right. Well, rest in peace, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. And I'll leave it to you, Charles, as to lead the sign off.
I want to say to the Reelblack family, peace and blessings. We love you. Thank you for your support. Stay safe. Be well. God bless.
Peace and blessings.